Cool. Awesome. So, folks, the idea of this presentation is to give you all an overview of the various projects that we have overall in Code for GovTech. I think one of the questions was, hey, if I want to contribute to some other project, can I do it? And Supreet's answer in a summary was, hey, sure, go for it. But there could be also a question that which project should I contribute to other than the one that I'm already working on? So the idea of this talk is to give you some context as to what are the various organizations that have put up products for GovTech, and what do those organizations do, and what are the products that they have opened up for Code for GovTech. Before we move ahead, my name is Karan Trehan. I am one of the engineering managers at Samagra, and also helped Venkatesh and Supreet do a bunch of work around Code for GovTech in the backend. Cool. Move on, Venkatesh, please. The first organization that we'll be looking at is Avanti. Some of y'all might be contributors to Avanti. The rest of y'all who are not aware, Avanti basically works in the education sector. It has multiple programs that it tries to run. One of the programs is an entrance exam preparation program, which helps folks get into India's best engineering and medical colleges. Another program that it runs is a very offline program where it tries to provide power backup equipment and specially designed workbooks to school students. And the other product that it works on is Ghar Pe School, which is an at-home learning for low-income group. The third project actually got triggered by them during COVID, as most of the school children were at home, but education could not take an impact, and hence they started building Ghar Pe School. The quiz creator project that they have on Code for GovTech is a part of the Ghar Pe School program itself. That's Avanti. Next, please. The other organization that has put up projects for Code for GovTech is Dhive. Dhive is a blockchain technology company. It is using blockchain to solve for social governance and for creating digital public goods. Blockchain, as you might be aware, is a very good use case for the population of India, where you can use a decentralized database system like a blockchain to provide a lot of services to a large population. One of the projects that it has is the CORD network. It is a tokenless blockchain. Being tokenless allows it to do 50,000 transactions per second. What CORD is basically used for is it helps hold identity, it holds reputation and capabilities in a secure distributed manner. That is basically what it allows folks to do. It is an open source blockchain network which you can contribute to and build on top of. Next, please, Venkatesh. Digital Green, it uses technologies to help farmers. It wants to work with smallhold farmers who produce most of the food and most of the world's food. That is basically what. Could you go back, please? Yeah, Digital Green. It works not only in India, but it also works in Ethiopia. It has multiple projects in India as well as Ethiopia. One of the programs that it has is DLEC, which is a basic local solutions to maximize outputs. For example, problems in Maharashtra would need Maharashtra specific solutions. The same solutions cannot be applied to Odisha because the climate is different, the soil is different, the people are different, the crop that they're growing is different. So that is what they try to do there. FarmStack is the project that they have nominated into Code for GovTech. FarmStack is a farmer data management solution. It leads to benefits to farmers and it can be incorporated by multiple organizations to provide benefits to farmers. What FarmStack does is it holds data from farmers, which can then be shared across with multiple organizations to build solutions on top of. That is basically digital giving. Moving on to the next contributor is EGovernments Foundation. EGovernments Foundation basically works on public digital platforms. It enables policies and open ecosystems. One of the biggest projects that EGovernments Foundations built was DWalk, which powered vaccination certificates, our COVID vaccination certificates in India, Indonesia, Jamaica, Philippines, as well as Sri Lanka. So DIWORK is a very powerful framework that they built, which was used extensively during the COVID vaccination efforts. The program that they have nominated is Digit. And it is a part of Digit Sanitization, which is an open source web and mobile enabled platform to digitize operations of waste management, to ensure that our counties, our states, our local environments are sanitized, and no open defecation uh, um, or any of the waste goes unsanitized. That is the basic idea behind Digit Sanitation. A really powerful program. If I would have had to work on something very closely, it would have been one of the Digit Sanitization projects. Moving on, the next organization that we have is FIDE. FIDE basically stands for Foundation for Interoperability in Digital Ecosystem, Digital Economy. They are a non-profit organization. They design and advocate for open protocols, and they foster open communities. What this basically means is with a larger internet ecosystem, doing similar things, we have different standards. For example, the API of Amazon would have a very different structure from the API of Flipkart, but they are essentially doing the same thing. A seller trying to sell, a buyer trying to buy, and the buyer then tracking his orders or her orders, trying to cancel or report or whatever. They wanted to standardize this so that every transaction, every commerce transaction could have a standard protocol. And for this, they built the backend protocol, which they nominated for the Code for Gov Tech program. It is an open and interoperable protocol for decentralizing digital commerce, but it has multiple implementations. For example, it has implementations in mobility, it has implementations in logistics, in e-commerce, etc., etc. ONDC, which currently has been gaining a lot of momentum, is based on the backend protocol itself. Next slide, please. EGstep was formed with an idea of trying to improve literacy and numeracy by enhancing access to learning. EGstep consists of various building blocks under Sunbird. The two that I would like to talk about right now are Sunbird Ed and Sunbird RC. Sunbird Ed powers Diksha, which already Supreet talked about some minutes ago. And Sunbird RC was used for creating credentials on our vaccination certificates. The other building block is Sunbird Inquiry, which creates questions in QUML, which can then be shown to the Diksha portal or can be used across multiple portals. That is Inquiry. Moving on to the next organization, it is METI. Next, please. Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. The aim of this organization or this group is to promote e-governance. We must have used multiple programs like data.gov, mygov.in, India Code, Umang, iGot, etc. All of them are built by METI. METI currently is managing Diksha, which again is something that Supreet spoke about in detail, which is an implementation of Sunbird Ed. You'll see this as a similar link here. Most of the building blocks are getting used by some other organization, and that organization products are then getting used by some other organization, and projects are interlinked with one another. That is the power of DPG that folks were talking about, that we can have one person build something and other people contributing on top of it, is what is the power of DPG. Diksha, I'll just talk about a bit about it. It stands for Digital Infrastructure for Knowledge Sharing. It contains of content published by all boards and powered a lot of learning for a lot of folks during the COVID pandemic, during lockdowns of the COVID pandemic. Next is National Health Authority. It invests in public health insurance and assurance schemes. That's the basic idea of NHA. ABDM, which is Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, creates digital infrastructure to connect health facilities, professional, tech company, states, and citizens. So it's trying to create an ecosystem which makes health management easier across India. The next organization is ReBenefit. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, there was some noise around me. The next is ReBenefit. Uh, ReBenefit basically endeavors to create and nurture champions of small solutions in every community across the country. What this basically means is local problems can be solved by people who are affected by it the most. So it creates local champions. One of that program that is driven by it is called Solve Ninja. And that is the one that it has contributed to the Code for Gov Tech program list itself. You would want to be building a chatbot which allows you to talk to those local ninjas and solve for problems, create solutions together, again building a DPG inside a DPG where people are solving problems and working together. That's basically ReBenefit. The next organization is Sahaj. Sahaj is a software engineering firm which extensively uses, contributes, and builds DPGs. Sunbird RC, as already explained, was used for creating credentials for vaccinations, but it can also be used for creating credentials which are verifiable across multiple entities. That's the idea or the program that Sahaj has contributed to Code for GovTech. Samagra X builds and shapes open source population scale products. They build DPGs, they build building blocks. They also build. Can you hear some? Yeah, thanks. Some of the projects that they have contributed to the Code for GovTech program are AI tools, which is built to very quickly add AI capabilities to existing software solutions or software DPGs. UCI, which is which is used to power communication to thousands of users at a time. You can build interactive chatbots using Sunbird UCI. ODK powers data collection from lakhs of users. So ODK Collect Extensions is a layer built on top of ODK, which is going to be used, which is already being used in most of the Android applications from Samagra, and has till today been used by close to 80 lakh people in India. So that's ODK Collect Extension. Your CQ, text to SQL and workflow are some other projects that Samagra has contributed to. Yeah, moving on. The next organization is FiFi Foundation. It creates software projects for social programs, which are open source. It has multiple projects that it's currently building on. The first one is Bahmi. It is an open source hospital information and electronic media record system. So a similar thing to, I would say, ABTC, but it's a completely different implementation. Gunak, which is a platform for quality assessment and it's reporting for government hospitals. And Avni, which is the one it contributed or nominated for the Code for GovTech program, which is a community service and data collection platform for nonprofits. It's exactly similar to what OTK does, but it's an indigenous development for data collection done by Samanbhai. Moving on, the next foundation is Sanketika. It builds solutions for population scale. It extensively uses Sunbird Digitic with its data engineering capabilities. One of the projects that it has nominated for Code for GovTech is Health Claim Exchange. Basically, it is the standardization of e-claims and other related documents. For example, you go to one hospital and you have an insurance policy of ICICI Lombard versus, let's say, the insurance policy of Religare. The way that your hospital had to deal with e-claims was very different. We want to standardize that, and that is what is Health Claims Exchange. Really meaningful work to make healthcare much smoother for folks. The other projects that it has nominated is Sunbird Knowledge, again an edtech Sunbird building block, and Sunbird Observe, which is a telemetry building block provided by Sunbird. Moving on, Shiksha Lokam is the next organization. It works on improving the quality of education by making leaders. It extensively works in the K-12 ecosystem. The project that it has contributed to is QUML. QUML extensively powers Diksha. So QUML is question markup language. It is basically about creating questions in a crowdsourced manner and then sharing it across multiple formats, be it websites, web apps, or mobile apps. You would want to be able to use a similar language for powering questions. It is a specification for storage, rendering, and distributions of questions and tests. Extensively used, as I said, in Diksha and powering like crores of users in India already. The next organization is Torrento Technologies. It also builds population scale products. The projects that it has nominated are Sunbird DevOps, which is basically the DevOps pipeline of the entire Sunbird ecosystem. As you can understand, Sunbird building blocks are really huge, but we would want some kind of a DevOps to be built around it to be able to maintain it and contribute to it quickly. The other projects that it has nominated are Sunbird Ed, Sunbird Learn, and Sunbird Saral. Sunbird Saral powers question set marking in UP. Saral is basically an OCR based system where question papers can be scanned very quickly and scoring of them can happen extremely fast. That is what is Saral. Moving on. The next is Project Tech for Dev. It helps nonprofits seeking technology and data assistance by building open source low-cost technology solutions. One of the programs that it has contributed to is Dev Data Platform. It is an open source data pipeline platform to tackle data ingestion, storage, and transformation, which is extensively used by NGOs. So if NGOs have a large amount of data that they want to kind of perform operations on and get insights on, Dev Data Platform has been built for that. Glyphic is an open source WhatsApp-based two-way communication platform to enable impactful programs to reach communities. So if there is an NGO that wants to use WhatsApp to send messages to its beneficiaries, it can use Glyphic. That is what is Glyphic. The next organization is Takely. It builds, again, population scale products and extensively uses Sunbird ecosystem. The projects that it has contributed has been Sunbird Ed, already explained, and Sunbird RC, which is already explained as well. The next organization that has also been a part of Code for Gov Tech has been Thoughtworks. Thoughtworks, as most of us might be aware, is a global technology consultancy, but it also has a very large DPG presence. One of the things that it is currently contributing or nominating for Code for Gov Tech is Brahmi. Brahmi is an open source hospital management system, again, similar to some of the other things that we already spoke about, but it is already been live in 600 plus facilities across the world. Next would be Tibble. Tibble again builds population scale products. It extensively works with Sunbird ecosystem. The project it has nominated is CCube. CCube is basically a data observability or visualization framework for education. It powers a lot of VSKs, which is Vidya Samiksha Kendras in India, in multiple states, where all data from educational institutes across the state are ingested and visualized to the state stakeholders in a beautiful, actionable dashboard. So that is CCube. The last organization that we'll be talking about today is Trusting. Trusting is building a secure, sensitive legal tech system that manages end-to-end POSH compliances and support. This is something Supreet also talked about. They're building a POSH compliance and support system. POSH is basically prevention of sexual harassment at workplaces. The two projects that it has nominated are TrustBot and POSHPad. Basically, TrustBot is a WhatsApp-based chatbot where you can ask queries and you can get answers to your queries. PoshPal basically helps you understand more about the Posh rules, regulations, processes, etc. Uh, these were the organizations that have contributed projects to Code for GovTech. These are the projects that they have contributed to. Really powerful, really impactful, really at scale problems. A lot of the problem sets are linked to one another. A lot of them work together. Hopefully, you find more inspirations or more projects that you would want to contribute to and you would want to take forward or build on top of as new DPGs or new ideas on top of them. Yeah, that was my time. Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much, Karan. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that gave a very good overview of the projects and the various products that are part of Code for GovTech program. Also, because sometimes when you're working on just two or three proposals, you might not take a macro lens of what all things have been put on plate by the whole program. So I think people now, after getting selected, would get a better sense of the other projects running parallelly with them, and maybe look towards where their expertise also could add value to other contributors. Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Karan, for that.
It would be great, in fact, to just get some reactions from anybody in the community as to, now that you've seen all the projects and very nicely, and thanks, Karan, for giving a very nice abstracted view of all of them. Any comments from anybody in the community? I mean, it was very refreshing for me also to go through all of them like this. I think, it's you engage with different projects at different time, but yeah, clearly a lot of impactful projects, but would love to hear any thoughts from anybody in the community, like any first reactions or, any thoughts on what you're hearing or what Karan shared over the past few minutes with you all?
I have a question.
Yeah, please, Siddharth, go ahead.
So as in the slides, we were shown about different projects. So there was one project that I would be contributing is Sunbird ED. So while I was reading about it, it's a project by EGovernments. However, what's the angle of Take the Technologies in that?
Yeah, sure. Karan, you want to take that or should I take that?
Go ahead, Supreet.
Okay, so Siddharth, so EGovernments essentially is the organization that's running the overall owning the product. What that means is that they are the ones who are, for example, driving what should be some of the use cases around it, what should be the architectural guardrails, what should be the architecture for it, right? So they are the ones who are taking the decision. Now, Tekri is an organization that has been onboarded by them, right? As an organization that works with them to do this. Now, like for example, EGovernments has multiple organizations like Tekri, Torrento that work with EGovernments and drive some of the building blocks, right? Now, EGovernments owns the product, right? But Tekri then takes up certain aspects of the product and then drives those themselves, but funded by EGovernments. So that is the sort of engagement that happens. So EGovernments is funding a lot of the Tekri work, right? That Tekri is doing for the building blocks, right? But Tekri itself is an independent organization that's interested in working here. One, because EGovernments is paying them, but the other is Tekri also ends up deploying this. Then, like, what's in it for Tekri, right? Like Tekri will be able to contribute back here. The other is they will also pick this up and deploy it for other organizations. So there are a lot of other companies / NGOs / startups that want to leverage Sunbird Edge. So they are actually, Tekri runs a Sunbird SaaS version of Sunbird Edge that they are deploying for some of these companies. So that's their other incentive as organizations to work here. Hope that clarifies your question, Siddharth.
Yes.
Okay.
Folks, I would request you to switch on your videos as well so that we can see all of your bright faces. And please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask any questions that you guys have.
I had a question. I observed that there was a lot of overlap between some projects. So what purpose does that serve exactly?
Sorry.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Take that.
Sorry.
So Ishan, this is something that I spoke about in the slides itself. We see a lot of projects being contributed by multiple organizations, and that is what is the power of TPG. For example, Sunbird Ed might be getting used by TakeD for education related things. But Sunbird Ed as a core system might be getting used by Tibble for, let's say, healthcare related education, right? So that is why all of these organizations are contributing to the same DPG to make it more powerful, but the projects or the implementations that they're doing could be very different. And that is what makes DPGs that powerful, that you can build um, uh, representations on top of the course uh, based on the field in which you want to implement it. So that is the advantage of DPGs themselves, and hence the overlap where one product is getting built by someone, implemented by someone, then maintained by someone, and then extended by completely someone else. That's how the open source community is essentially focused around DPGs. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there is a question by Sandeep. In GitHub Care repo is from Open Healthcare Network, but here it is shown under eGov. I did not understand. Sandeep, we as Samagra ourselves have multiple organizations that we create on GitHub and create repos under, just to make it simpler for management of the programs. For example, we might be the ones who are leading it, but we might have multiple organizations supporting us while building it. Hence, we create one organization which becomes a collective of multiple people contributing to that product. And hence, this could be the case uh, with Care Repo as well. I hope that answers your question. Shivam, Sunbird Ed seems to be a basic building block for some of the many available e-ed applications, but upon seeing it increases the spectrum of implementation I am able to see in this project. That's absolutely right. Sunbird Ed essentially is one of the oldest DPGs that was built out, and hence it has become the backbone of multiple educational as well as non-educational DPGs and products that have come out of come into the nominations in this project. So completely agree with you. Sunbird Ed is a backbone and is a very powerful DPG which is at the core of multiple programs.